So wide receiver, offensive line, we'll take a look at some of the back end of the defensive backfield in the coming days and weeks. Those are all rational places for Baylor to look in the transfer portal. And not to say that this next position is irrational, but maybe a little bit outside the box. And that position is quarterback. Okay. I know what you guys are saying. You've got the guy. And we do. We've got the guy with Sawyer Robertson. And in fact, I really like the next guy down the line in Edward Griffin. And Nate Bennett in a pinch, yes, friend of the show. We like Nate Bennett. But we have seen year after year, Baylor attack that position in the transfer portal for some stability, some insurance policy, right? And if Nate Bennett is a guy who isn't ready to step in next year, which, could be true. He's only just finished up his first year on campus. Edward Griffin will be a true freshman, probably not ready for him to just go in just yet. Then I think there's absolutely an argument to be made that they should go after Isaac Wilson of Utah. It sounds crazy, but I can see a scenario right now where Baylor should look at Isaac Wilson of Utah to bring him in for some depth, if nothing else. And from Isaac Wilson's standpoint, again, this is a pretty nice spot to go if you're an offensive player, especially a quarterback. Because let's look at the guy that's there right now in Sawyer Robertson. He came in through the transfer portal, a year or two after being recruited as a 4-star guy out of high school in Lubbock. And he comes to Baylor to be the backup, even though he can probably go a couple of different, lower level places and compete for the starting job. He comes to Baylor to be the backup, and he gets thrown into the fire early in 23. And, a bunch of fans had written him off. And then he comes in this year and he is a superstar. Okay. It just took some time, and it took some time to learn under a veteran guy, much like we hear about with the NFL all the time. Come in, hold the clipboard for a veteran guy, and when it's your time, you've learned a lot of things. Isaac Wilson can do with that because he comes in this year, thrown into the fire after Cam Rising gets hurt, and it's not always pretty. And in fact, the Utah fans made it known that it was not always pretty for Zach Wilson's little brother down there in Salt Lake. And the numbers, they're not great. 1,500 yards in almost a full season, by the way. Only completes 56% of his passes, 10 touchdowns to 11 picks, and the 122nd rated quarterback rating by ESPN in FBS. So it wasn't great, and obviously wasn't a great year for Utah. And it just felt like they were behind the 8 ball all the time. And so with Isaac Wilson going into the portal, the hot name is going to be BYU. Right? That's where his brother played. There's obviously a relationship there between Kalani Sitake and the Wilson family. Of course, if he wanted to play for the same coaches that Zach did, he might be heading to Kansas to play for Jeff Grimes. But there's obviously a connection there and a history with BYU that would make them a very interesting spot for Isaac Wilson. But outside of a place like that, I think 2 things. First, there's not going to be many Power 4 places that'll be a soft landing spot for Isaac Wilson after this year they just had. So it's either you go down into, a group of 5 and have a good shot to be a starter, or most likely you're going somewhere to be the backup. And so if it's BYU, we get that. There's a connection there. Maybe it's Kansas because his brother did well under Jeff Grimes. But Baylor should be a spot you're looking at if you're a quarterback looking to kind of resurrect your career and avoid something like the Alan Bowman situation at Michigan. Because you look at the stable that they've got, the stable of horses that they'll have on offense. God forbid something did happen to Sawyer Robertson during the season. You got some pretty good weapons to go with, be it in the run game or, some of their weapons, even the ones who are already coming back that they need to replenish the wide receiver room, but you still got Josh Cameron and Michael Trigg coming back. So it's not like there's going to be, no one to throw to if you have to come into this game. the way it was for Sawyer Robertson in 2023. It certainly felt that way. So you look at that, a good situation in terms of a team that's hot. They've got a good recruiting class coming in. They're going to be attracting a lot of portal receivers that you can work with. And they've got the OC. Like, they've got him. We did this all, the last couple of weeks of last season when we were looking at Jake Spavital. Like, look at the quarterbacks he's worked with, right? I mean, Manziel and Murray and Will Grier and Brandon Whedon, if we want to go back that far. And all these guys who have had a ton of success at the college level. And his first quarterback he develops at Baylor becomes an all Big 12 quarterback, at least an all Big 12 caliber quarterback, right away. So if you're looking for a soft landing spot in a place where you're going to probably be the backup no matter what, like, Baylor should be a good destination for that. And no shade to Jeff Grimes, because I mean, you saw the turnaround that Kansas had this year. But if you're looking for a quarterback developer, like, this is the spot. This is where you're going to find one. And with Baylor, they've got some young guys. Edward Griffin will be here. Nate Bennett will obviously be here like he was this year, that they might be too young to just get thrown into a situation. Isaac Wilson, he's done that. He's played that. He played it the whole year and fought gallantly, honestly, for a bad Utah team, and was really trying to figure it out on the fly. Here, you are going to have the answers to the test because you have Jake Spavital as your QB coach and offensive coordinator. And you'll be learning under a hell of a quarterback in Sawyer Robertson, right? So, and you're still playing big-time football. You're in the Big 12. I know your fan base might, for some reason, think it's the worst conference in America, even though they sucked in it too. But trust me, this is pretty good, high-level college football at the Power 4 level, especially at the quarterback position. Because if there's two quarterbacks in this conference better than Sawyer Robertson, it's got to be the best quarterback conference in America. So, Isaac, I would think about it. I would think about it, man. Jeff will tell you all the great things about Waco. He still likes it here. Okay? So it's outside the box, yeah. But I could absolutely see Baylor giving Isaac Wilson a look and Isaac Wilson giving Baylor a look. Again, he's probably not going to come here to be a legacy quarterback. You probably do it, and then you're in the portal a year from now or 2 years from now. But he's coming off his true freshman season. He's got all kinds of eligibility left. This is where you can come and develop. A lot of college players aren't interested in that anymore, but when you weigh your options, it's probably not a bad option to go somewhere big time and develop under a real quarterback guru like Jake Spavital. At least that's the way I see it. Let me know what you think. Drop that down in the comments below. And if you like the video, like the video. It helps out a ton. Or if you're listening, tweet at us how much you like it. And tell your friends to listen, because I get more money when you listen rather than you watch. But I like it here on YouTube. Thank you for making it to the end of the video, and thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network part of your daily routine. We have got you covered with the most Baylor Bears athletics coverage of any outlet that's not directly tied into Baylor University. So if you want more of that, be sure to like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell to get notified every time we're dropping a video here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, and sick 'em.